Welcome back, guys, to another Zero-DTE video, and today Coach Ernie is going to be talking about candlestick patterns, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, check out the link in the description to join the world's #1 Zero-DTE trade destination. Enjoy, guys.
So the VIX going up is beneficial for us, right? Because
Oh,
of a
yeah,
lot more movement.
absolutely. You'll see that the range is much bigger. But I still like the multi-day strategies in this type of environment. They're a little bit more difficult, I think, for people to visualize because they want that more immediacy, but you can put them on much cheaper, and I think that the payoff overall is better. But definitely, when you have larger range like this, the Zero-DTE becomes much easier to play.
Coach, how much of your analysis is put into evaluating and looking at the actual candlesticks, like Bukowski's stuff? Is that something that you could, or is worthwhile for us to learn from you, or just do it on our own? Because I know him, I basically have correspondences with him and stuff, and he's amazing. But my thought behind this was choosing direction, which with the VIX and the high volatility, knowing a direction is, if we could hone in on that magic eight ball to know what direction is going in, that's a hell of an advantage.
Yeah, I don't think that you can. The only way that you can choose direction, there are two ways. One is you can choose the bigger direction. What is the general trend? And then the other way is that you get this underlying momentum of what's happening through the directional bias indicator that I have on FlyOnTheWall. But those are two very different things. And yesterday, you probably noticed, or the day before, when we were looking at that directional bias saying, holy shit, market's going up, but the directional bias is saying it's going down. And I was trying to explain that it's not telling you it's going down. What it's telling you is that all the pressure is going down, and that divergence, while it's saying everything's going down and price is going up, means that price is probably going to reverse. So that's like localized directionality, and that's a really good tool. That's a more or less a predictive tool too. It's not infallible, but it's pretty good, and it worked really good the past couple of days. The other directionality, and which you can't predict, neither of them you can predict. You can just see what the indications are. So that directional bias is a really good indication, particularly when it's going against the grain, that there's likely to be a reversal coming. And so you can position yourself for it. The other type of directionality, again, isn't predicting. It's just looking at it and saying, hey, this market has been going up over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. And so therefore, I'm going to predominantly trade in the direction of that trend.
Right.
So that's it when it comes to direction. But if you think that you're going to wake up in the morning and be able to tell which way the market's going, that ain't happening. But to give you the direct answer on Bukowski, how do I use it? So I don't personally think that you ever really need candlesticks. And that might be like a mind blow to some people. But there are some things that with candlesticks, you can pick up patterns of behavior and make inferences from those and use them to your advantage. The problem is that it's extremely subjective. Technical analysis is not really technical at all. It should be called subjective analysis with a lot of smoke and mirrors. However, there are some patterns that have been discovered and introspected and statistically analyzed, Thomas Bukowski, that you should pay attention to. Now, he does a study on hundreds of them, all these different patterns. You go on his pattern site, and he's got hundreds and hundreds of patterns. But he has 10 that are worthwhile looking at that he calls his top 10 candlestick patterns. And those are the only ones I look at. And if those patterns occur in the context that he describes them, that's the important part, then they're worth following. So what I would say is you become familiar with what those patterns are. So for instance, the top one is a 3-line strike, and it can be either for going down or going up. But become familiar with a 3-line strike. If you happen to see it on a daily chart, then you know that, hey, this is a top 10, and it's in fact the #1 of the top 10 patterns in Thomas's Bukowski, his pattern site. I should pay attention to this when this happens, because the chances are about 80% that you'll be able to choose the direction.
Okay. Yeah.
Other than that, I have no use for candlesticks. They're interesting and everything. They sometimes help me see where the levels are on volume profile, but other than that, they're not much else.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button below. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, remember to check out the link in the description for Ernie's school community.